Man, I'm exhausted.
Tired, huh?
I'm telling you, a whole week. I mean, it's like I've been doing cement finishing work.
Damn.
God bless the cement finishers out there. Trust me, you don't work nearly as hard as Rip Daniels does while Donald John is in office. I mean, it's like you just can't keep up. So now let me understand this right. Yet another porn star has come forward?
Well, this particular porn star had already come forward previously, but this porn star now says that she was named in that non-disclosure agreement that we talked about yesterday. That Stormy Daniels says that the president did not sign under his alias. But this was another misconduct accuser, porn star Jessica Drake.
Angel Ryan. Is that her real name or is that an
Angel Ryan. Her stage name is Jessica Drake, which is odd to me. I would think that Angel Ryan would be more.
Well, they got a lot of angel porn stars, angels.
That's true.
I'm just telling you, there's a lot of them that
Oversaturated market. No pun intended.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of Jezebels. They don't go for names like Jezebels or.
No, Jesse Bell though. Anyway.
Angel Ryan. So she's come forward. She indicated that there was some approaches, advances, and whatever.
Yeah.
But we're not going to spend much time on this, folks, because you're going to be hearing about this for quite some time, only because Donald John wants it that way. You know, there are some times that you simply pay your way out of things. Now, don't take this wrong. It's not just about this situation. But sometimes you find yourself in a situation that it's better to simply pay your way out. It's almost tantamount to copping a plea. You know you didn't do it. I know you didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. So therefore, what is it going to cost to make it go away? Because the lawyer fees is going to eat you alive. Sometimes you find the same thing when it comes down to divorces. There are some situations where you literally, you behoove to say, I got to pay my way out of this. Donald John doesn't have enough sense to do that. You see, his arrogance won't let him do that. And I'm going to explain to you why. You're going to understand exactly the mindset of this guy within this monologue, I promise you. So he's not. And so therefore, here we are. We're off to the races. The question is whether this document, whether this signature, that page there, and I know it's on the reverse for those who are looking at it or on Facebook. What I have here is Exhibit 2. Exhibit 2. Now, I want you to know this Angel Ryan now also is a friend of one Stormy Daniels and is a witness to what Stormy Daniels did or didn't do. The reality here is, folks, that we're talking October 2016, October 31st, 2016. The election, the November election for the presidency of these United States was within a week away. You got me? Just serious. Right before the election, they signed a hush agreement. Well, I thought they signed it. For Stormy Daniels, Peter Peterson, Peggy Peterson, with Donald John as David Dennison, DD and PP. And then the thought is that for $130,000 that was given to him by his lawyer, Cohen. By the way, I don't see his name down here.
I didn't either.
They went through this Keith Davidson Esquire. They involved the Essential LLC involved in this too. But anyway, so the idea was just before the election, they'll make sure that she keeps her mouth shut. If he wins the election or doesn't win the election. Now, I'm going to do this because we had a caller toward the end of the show bring this up. There is this. If you see this, it's a notary stamp. That is a stamp of one Erica Jackson, notary, state of Texas. It expires January 4th, 2020. Now, I suggested to you, ladies and gentlemen, that it was notarized. Now, missing in this was, in fact, David Dennison's, a.k.a. Donald John. And it wasn't dated. And so, it's notarized. That implies that it becomes a legal document. And you swear to it, by the way. It's an affidavit, basically. And there are some rules, strict rules, governing whether or not a notary public can actually put a stamp and sign off on a document without all the signatures. Now, I have seen it such that there is each signature is notarized individually. I've seen that with individual notaries. It really clouds up the pages and all those stamps. But noticeably absent on this was that stamp. Typically, they'll go in with a little embossing stamp, and they will do this, just kind of stamp it down and sign it and date it. Well, it was noticeable to yours truly that there was no date for Erica Jackson's notary stamp. I don't doubt that this probably happened in the attorney's office there in Texas. No, I don't know that to be sure. Don't see the address.
But she is a Texas notary.
She's a Texas notary. Thank you very much. Very, very curious. So I decided to contact a notary. We have her on the phone. There she is right there. Let's go to her. Hi, Miss ZZ.
Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Miss ZZ. So you a notary?
I sure am.
But you're not a notary in Texas, I assume.
No, I'm a notary right here in Mississippi.
So let me ask you, Miss ZZ, and I know that you've seen this stamp. On observation of the Hush contract for Donald John and Stormy Daniels, what's your observations about this whole stamp and whether or not Erica Jackson, whether Erica Jackson's in trouble? You know.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't look like Erica Jackson even signed it. So it could have been a situation where someone just took her stamp off her desk and just stamped it on there. There's no signature on there for Erica Jackson. And if you want to have something notarized, there's a statement that has to be on there, and it reads, "Subscribed and sworn to me before in my presence this the blank day of blank month, a notary public in and for the county of blank, state of blank," in which case it would be Texas there, and then you would have your signature, and you would say my commission expires. You would write in what date your commission expires. You sign it, you stamp it, and you date it.
Really?
That's nowhere on those pages.
Huh? Has anybody seen Erica? See if you can find Erica.
I'm trying to find her.
So as you're concerned, this document is, in the sight of the law, not a legal document if, in fact, Erica's signature is not on there.
Well, right. I would say that it has not been notarized.
It has not been
There's a stamp on there, but the notary has not signed it.
Is that against the law?
Well, yeah, you should not. Can't just go around taking notary stamps and stamping it all willy-nilly on papers,
Well, but obviously, when you notarize a document, it basically confirms in the eyes of the court. It makes it a legal document. Is that accurate description?
It does. It makes it an officially signed, duly executed legal document.
You see, what a notary does, I guess, I mean, you could have witnesses to a document, but what it does is, for you as a notary, it says that you represent at that point the legal system, a judicial system, and by commission, you're there to actually accept the fact that they've sworn that that's them. Is that accurate?
Right, that they've sworn that that's them, that they've read everything, that they are signing off on everything, and they are who they say they are.
So they take an oath to do this, basically. That's, I swear that this is, I am who I say I am, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So you've seen it? So does this look like, go ahead.
I have seen it, and it to me, it does not look like it's an official notarized document, no.
Whoa. Can a notary notarize something with a signature and not in his or her presence? Or at least are they supposed to?
Well, they shouldn't. You're there saying, again, that's why that statement is there. It says subscribed and sworn.
Yeah. Yeah, it does say that.
Before me, in my presence.
So, Stormy Daniels, a.k.a. Peggy Peterson, is saying that she got $130,000, and she signed this document, but that Donald John, or a.k.a. David Denison, did not sign the document, so therefore it is not a legal document. Now, I know you're not an attorney, but theoretically, one can argue that it's at the very least, it wasn't sworn to. It's not official. His signature is not on it. Would you not agree that it's questionable?
I would. I've seen wills thrown out for less.
Wills, you're right. Huh. All right, Miss ZZ, thank you so much. You're so sweet.
You're very welcome.
You know, it must be a boring job just sitting around there stamping things. You know, it's boring just sitting around there. All you do is, you know. And do you guys get training with that stamp and that embossing deal?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, you know, you got to take. It depends on from state to state, but you got to be familiar with the law at least a little bit, and you got to have insurance and
well, I know that. But what I'm asking is that how you do the stamp? You know, I saw that a lot when I was traveling in Africa. You know, you go through and you get your passport stamp. It's almost as if they have to go to training for that, just right. Yes.
You got to practice with your wrist. It's all in the wrist action there. You know, you got to the wrist and the elbow. You got to get it down, and you got to make it sound official when you stamp it down. You know.
Well, I know, but the thing is that sometimes you might, if you get it cocked just wrong, the ink. Do you know? The ink get all smeared and so forth. I mean, did that ever happen to you where you got just a half stamp or something like that? Or you?
No, my ink is always perfect.
I'm sure it is, Miss ZZ. Pardon me. I didn't mean to insult you. I'm sure you were doing it exactly right. All right, Miss ZZ. Thank you, baby. Appreciate it. So, Ro, I mean,
yeah.
I think Stormy's going to take that 130K. I don't doubt, though, that someone's going to send her signal and say, well, look, that wasn't legal, so we want our money.
Nah, she going to freak it. She going to freak it.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to move on, and I'm not going to spend any more time on it. Never try to get your money back from a woman.
No.
I'm just going to tell you.
No.
No. Don't ask for that money back. You won't. Trust me on this.
You don't want those problems.
No, you won't get it back.
What's the point of asking, huh?
I'm just saying. You know, you might as well write that off.
That's it.
Baby, where my change?
You're going to have to eat that.
Didn't I have some change?
Change? You better not ask your woman for no change.
I gave you a 20.
If you give your woman money and you ask for change back, you ain't no man.
I should get some change, shouldn't I?
I thought that was 50. I gave you 100.
Don't you laugh, Miss Lee. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. All right, folks. Do we have a picture of the other hooker, the other porn queen, porn star? We don't. No. Okay. All right. Get ready because see, this is how this works with Donald John. What he does is he puts a whole lot out there, you see, and so therefore this is going to be meandering for the next year, 2 years. He doesn't have sense enough to understand when to say when. Because for him, you see, it's a matter of time. I could float this out. He has the, he goes in, he talks to his attorneys. So how long do we have? How long can you stall this? Can we stall this to the end of my first term? Okay, all right. So now let me just come up with something else. Right? Let's see if we can put something else on the table. See, all of this is about controlling the information. He is still being a TV reality show star.
That's what he is.
That's what he's doing, folks. And that's why he will promote things. Oh, there's going to be a big announcement from North Korea coming up. A big announcement from North Korea.
There's been big announcements since this thing broke. You realize that? There was a big trade announcement. It was huge.
Let me tell you, folks, it has been happening like this, and some of you guys, look, I know there's nothing I can say that's gonna cause you to get out of Fifth Avenue and waiting for that bullet. I know there's nothing that's gonna stop you, but at the very least, you got to give the benefit of the doubt here. If he can lie about this and do that, you do understand we can end up in an environment here as a country that is Well, a hard reality. Which brings me to this, ladies and gentlemen. And look, I give credit where it's due, even to Donald John, if I agree with something that he's doing. I make no bones about that. That doesn't mean that I appreciate him as a president or I appreciate him as a man and his character, because I don't. That's irreparable for as I'm concerned. However, when someone does something, then you look at the deed that they did. Here's what you need to understand about people like Donald John. They are, I told you, they were plutocratic and narcissistic, but more than anything else, he grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. And he's only content dealing with those who he perceives as being on his level. He has convinced blue-collar workers that they're on his level. Trust me, you won't have a beer with him. Of course, he doesn't drink beer.
I don't drink, I don't smoke.
You won't have a milkshake on a burger with him. He's afraid of you.
I eat my burgers alone.
I'm just telling you, and you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. But what he does is, he wants to get the flattery from Machiavellian folks like himself, which is why it was important for him to say Vladimir Putin said nice things about him. Which is also why he said this about Kim Jong-un, the strong man that he is, and how he rose to power, killing off other relatives and the like, and even, I think, his own sister and girlfriend and whoever else, the general, his
Possibly
uncle.
older brother, uncle.
So, go ahead and play it.
I really, have no comment on him. People are saying, is he sane? I have no idea. I can tell you this, and a lot of people don't like when I say it, but he was a young man of 26 or 27 when he took over from his father, when his father died. He's dealing with obviously very tough people, in particular the generals and others. And at a very young age, he was able to assume power. A lot of people, I'm sure, tried to take that power away, whether it was his uncle or anybody else. And he was able to do it. So obviously, he's a pretty smart cookie.
See, he sees that. Hang on. He sees that as smart. You see, he sees ruthlessness like Vladimir Putin, or in this case, Kim Jong-un, is smart. And that's what you had, was ruthlessness. He was not elected to power. This guy's a dictator. The guy, Kim Jong-un, coming behind his dad, Kim Jong-il, and no doubt had some enemies, but at the same token, maybe even had some friends. But odd, strange, unusual, queer, to say the least. It is a dictatorship. He's a pretty smart cookie. So that's admiration, almost adoration, actually.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to further emphasize that, he's one of those guys that even Donald John could appreciate, sort of like Attila the Hun, Here it is.
This guy's a bad dude, and don't underestimate him. Any young guy can take over from his father with all those generals and everybody else that probably want the position. This is not somebody to be underestimated.
Again, there are some who will see that as, as a warning. No, that's adoration, actually. He wants to be that guy. Donald John wants to be that guy, which is also why he came out and complimented Xi over in China for being now an imperial president. They suspended all term limits for him.
Suggested possibly maybe doing the same.
He was joking, but the reality is that is his stick. In other words, it is far more important. He's attracted to the Machiavellian kind of control, almost like El Duce or anyone else, or Adolf for that matter. The being able to control everything and everybody. This is this is not my country, it's my company. Now I want you to take very serious with what is happening now. So, let's go back to the Obama administration. Remember this? Actually, you can go back further than that, whereby Kim Jong-un wanted to meet. He's always wanted to meet. Kim Jong-un, Jong-il, all of it. When they backed out of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, oh, you were surprised? Yes, they had nukes, and they were part of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. It was somewhere around Ronald Reagan, right about just the early years of Ronald Reagan, that they pulled out of that, primarily because of some imperialistic position about this country. And, of course, the fact that we were doing exercises. Jong Il was in North Korea at the time. And so we, the United States, were doing military exercises in the Sea of Japan. And it was it was formidable. The South Koreans, the Japanese, and here you had the Fifth Fleet, maybe even the Seventh Fleet of the United States, all on the coast of North Korea, where now North Koreans didn't know whether we were getting ready for war or not. They had beef up. And so that caused a bellicose kind of a belligerence that has permeated over and over again, So the Chinese came in, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going back even with Clinton now. The Chinese came in and said, hey, look, we're going to negotiate a peace treaty here between North Korea and South Korea and the United States. All you have to do, United States, is simply stop having these military exercises. And maybe cut down on the number of people you have on the DMZ. Okay, now North Korea, what you're going to do is stop your pursuit more of nuclear armament. And even missile technology. To which North Korea said, okay, yeah, we'll do it if America does it. America never did. Didn't do it with Clinton, didn't do it with Bush, and didn't do it with Obama.
Was not about to do it.
President Clinton thought that maybe he could buy his way in, and it bought him some time, offering some services. And so, well, that's not a bad thing. That kind of diplomacy, buying your friends, is nothing new. That used to be America's policy, which in some cases fared well as it applies to some parts of India, in other cases not. So, Jong-un, Jong-il, his dad, all wanted to meet with America, but they did not want to be defenseless when they did so. So in Jong-il dies, Jong-un takes over, the guy who's now got the admiration of one Donald John. And ladies and gentlemen, when President Barack Obama was there, was it about two years maybe before he left office? Jong-un got
made a friend.
Well, he made an incredible friend, and actually utilized that friend as a diplomat, a rather strange and unusually queer diplomat named Dennis Rodman.
He's going to change something because it is a different view. Because I sat with him for 2 days, and the one thing he asked me to give Obama something to say and do one thing. He wants Obama to do one thing. Call him. Obama loves basketball. Let's start there. If you see the quotes in the papers, he says that. He says that about sports. One thing I noticed about him, he's very humble. He's very humble, man. As a kid, he's very humble. He's very strong as a man. He's very strong, but guess what? He don't want war.
Yeah. Just call me.
Call him.
To which President Barack Obama said, no, you start denuclear. President, you here?
I didn't think I would call. So I didn't.
Well, why didn't you? I mean, all he wanted you to do was call. I mean, he talked to Dennis Rodman. Why couldn't he talk? I mean, what?
Well, why didn't I get the invite to the basketball tournament? You invite the worm, you don't invite me. That's how it works. That's how we do it.
Well, you didn't play with the NBA.
Well, you know what it was.
I mean, you remember when you first took office? What happened? Somebody got clocked on the
You didn't want me over there because you knew I was going straight to the court. If I go to the court, I'm issuing an open challenge. Hey, we'll start with horse. We'll go from there.
Only problem is, Mr. President, because you're the president, no one allows anyone else in the paint. Your Secret Service keeps everybody out.
I would have suspended those rules. The screen would have been let down.
No, it wasn't. Ever since you got hit in the head, ever since somebody elbowed you, who was I think it was?
Why you got to bring up both?
Well, I'm just simply saying. I mean, when you first took office and you were out there with, I think it was with Jordan, and you got clocked. Ever since then, the Secret Service wouldn't let anybody inside the paint but you.
I would have gone one-on-one with Kim.
Well, I bet you would. He's only 4'9".
Shoot the lights out.
So you would like to play Kim Jong-un in basketball?
I would play Kim.
I bet you would.
I took it as a personal insult. He sent the invite over to Dennis,
boy.
my good friend Dennis Rodman, but not to me. No.
Could you imagine?
I gotta call you now? Oh, I gotta call you. No. It's not gonna happen. Not today.
Could you imagine Kim Jong-un dribbling between his legs?
No.
Wouldn't that be funny?
He might have a strong crossover game. We can't.
He might be pretty good.
We can't underestimate him.
Doing a pass behind his back? Could you imagine?
No look fake. I mean, hey.
So,
The current president said not to underestimate him, so I won't.
so that's why you didn't call him, because he didn't call you
He
first.
didn't call me.
He called Dennis. He put the worm in front of you.
Put the worm in front of me. He's a tall guy. Okay? But we could have went together. You know? I like basketball.
Boy, it cracks me up. Kim Jong-un dribbling between his legs. Breaking the ball fast.
Gangnam Style.
Fast break. Yeah, you should be doing Gangnam Style. Where is it when you need it anyway? Oh, there it is. Go ahead. Not exactly timely, but all together now.
Gangnam Style. Yo, he hates the song. He hates this song.
I know he hates it. He's listening to it. I know he just hates it. I bet he would really have a problem with me, wouldn't he? All right, folks. Good morning to you. Rip Daniels here. So Gangnam Style is it's going to be meeting with. We got to get a song for Donald John. We really do.
Yeah, Melania's
Yeah.
got a song. We need Donald Jones.
Got to get a song for him. So the point here, folks, is that obviously Jong-un's been wanting to talk. No one would talk to him because he did not get rid of his nukes. He did quite the contrary, actually, with one Donald John, who Donald John said he'd never meet with him. And even his House Secretary of State Tillerson said we won't meet unless they denuclearize. Do you have that?
A sustained cessation of North Korea's threatening behavior must occur before talks can begin. North Korea must earn its way back to the table. The pressure campaign must and will continue until denuclearization is achieved. We will, in the meantime, keep our channels of communication open.
Absolutely, as you should. That's what a diplomat should do. But even the press said, Donald John said, no, I'm not gonna meet with you. Did he not?
Well, he did that after he said it would be an honor to meet with Kim, a little bit more of that ego stroking. But he did after he got a rebuke from some of his loyalists from that. He did say under the right circumstances, which would include denuclearization.
Yeah. So he didn't denuclearize. He actually proliferated. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, now, since Donald John has been flapping his gums, Jong-un has become the so-called Rocket Man, and Rocket Man he is now. He's got intercontinental ballistic missiles capable of holding a warhead. Let me just tell you what's working now. What's working now is the fact that Donald John sees this as, well, I get a chance to meet with someone who's just like me. And he is a character now on the world stage, and it's like it's like Denzel Washington meeting with who's the guy with the Black Panther? In other words, it's just like two guys who now feel that they are equal in their acting abilities. Almost. I mean, you got an Oscar winner. Yeah.
Well, a little bit different. Denzel helped put Chadwick through college, but
yeah, but Denzel has an Oscar, right? And
Yeah.
so Chadwick doesn't, and obviously Jong-un has been the dictator far longer than
Trump
Donald John.
wants to be.
But Donald John thinks that he is, because he's over the superpower, that he is Mr. Man. But actually, Jong-un is punking him out. I said it. And you know it. Here's a guy that's sending rockets over Japan and so forth. All that fire and fury, all that is just BS. The reality is now there is no concessions that Jong-un has made. And that's okay with me, by the way. I'm gonna tell you this. It is.
you're good with that.
But the mere fact that we're being played like this by Donald John, that you guys are being manipulated, is just disgusting to me. You see, what Donald John knows is that, okay, what I want this to do, I'd be seen, I want to go down in history as a guy that came up with some sort of peace with Jong-un. You got me? And which, by the way, is a good thing. I'm hopeful that he will, but it won't be without any nukes. Jong-un still has nukes, still has, and that's something else. You remember we put off doing our military exercises
Yes,
for discussions about the Olympics. Remember that?
I do.
They're still off. The Fifth Fleet is still hovering around there somewhere. That is, Jong-un has got us to stop doing that, which, by the way, is not a bad thing in my opinion. But now the president is trying, and Tillerson is trying to put forward this thing of, oh, yeah, well, it was essential that brought them to the table. They're at the table now because they got everything they wanted already. I don't doubt that Donald John probably said, yeah, go ahead and do it, but I'm going to posture on this side just to maintain some political fodder.
You think that would fly?
Well, it's flying, but anything will fly among his people. The people who support him will always give him an excuse.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's something about that. It's just, when you have a dumb child, I want you to know anything that they do is seen as a great thing, and you want to encourage them.
So Trump supporters see him as their dumb child?
Absolutely. They'll explain what he means by it and what he's doing. He's just not very bright, but he has good intentions, one could argue.
He means well.
Without realizing that he, Donald John, plays on that. He expects to be given a pass, primarily because he's always been given that. I have money.
All his life.
However, when he started running out of money, when the Russians came in, all that changed. Then he became a patsy. He became their flunky, their boy. But it's okay as long as he can reach the ultimate goal, and that is $1 trillion in the leadership club of the world.
Oh, he wants to seat at the big table.
So Kim Jong-un has nothing to lose at all. So we'll come, we'll talk, all right. And what I'll do is I won't do any nuclear tests, and you won't do any military maneuvers, and we'll just chat. I'm not giving up my nukes. He's given up absolutely positively nothing. But I think conversation's good. Hang on, it's Friday. We talk about whatever you want to talk about and a whole lot more. We'll be back.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, hey, try this?